Coming up later in the show, we'll talk to Baker Mayfield and Juju Smith-Schuster. There is plenty of drama in both Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and don't worry, we're going to get into all of it. That's coming up later here on Undisputed. And yesterday, the NBA fined Anthony Davis $50,000 for violating the league's policy that prohibits players or their reps from making public trade demands. That demand was made by AD's agent, Rich Paul, who also happens to be LeBron's agent. This has all led to speculation that the Lakers are the leading destination to trade for AD by the February 7th deadline. So, Shannon, did AD deserve this fine?
Yes. He broke the rules. The rules clearly say that you can't make a public statement, Skip, about wanting to be traded or anything of that nature. He broke the rules. But this is what he had to do. Skip, it's hard for me to believe that this is the first time that the Pelicans had heard Anthony Davis wanted out. And what was happening is AD is putting up 29.5 points, 14 rebounds, career-high 4 assists, 2 blocks a game. He's putting up these monster numbers. He's carrying on with his teammates like nothing is going on. And everybody's like, and when we hear sources, Anthony Davis wants out, sources, Anthony Davis wants to try and get to L.A. Organizationally, they're like, who are these sources? AD ain't told us nothing. Look how he's playing. Look how he's interacting with his teammates. Now, AD comes out, Rich Paul crafts a letter. AD says, I want to go where I can compete, win, compete for titles. No. Now, guess what he got, Skip? He didn't have your attention at first. Now he has your complete and undivided attention. Now he not only did he put the organization, ownership, AD is not happy. He's not re-signing. And so what are you going to do? Now, gave you a couple of options, but this is what he had to do in order to try and get up out of there. And we said this, Skip, we've been going back and forth. AD need to say this. We keep hearing sources. We all the sources. Now, the best source is the source, is the horse, is AD. He laid it out for you. I want out. I'm not re-signing. So the best thing you can do is to get what you can, and I'm leaving. And everybody else, I just want you to know, I'm a rental. It's like if you come to California and you get a Ferrari or Lamborghini, you're going to have to turn it back in. I'm a rental. Is that what happened? I'm a rental. So I'm going to L.A., as the old folks say, by hook or crook. I'm going to end up in L.A.
Sooner or later?
It don't matter, Skip. You know, sometime in order to get to a destination, you got to go. What did they do? We had to divert the plane. You know, Skip, I was flying to New York one time. They had to divert the plane, and we stopped off in Raleigh because unforeseen circumstances. Sometimes, you know, there are unforeseen circumstances that's beyond our control. And so we might have to go over here to get to right here. But we coming.
Okay.
I think you're coming sooner than later. I believe this deal will get done before the trade deadline, which, by the way, is only a week from tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Man, you're more optimistic than you're the most optimistic person that this deal's going to get done than anybody.
I just see it. I see the handwriting all over the locker room walls from here to New Orleans. The skids are greased, and it's going to happen because LeBron is behind it and Rich Paul is behind it, and we're talking about power brokers are behind it, and it just feels meant to happen. It feels like it would actually be good for the NBA to have Anthony Davis and LeBron as Los Angeles Lakers. Doesn't it just feel right?
Yes.
It would help raise the profile of a league that's on the rise and has been. It would help with competitive balance in the West. It would offset a little bit of now DeMarcus Cousins up with the Golden State Warriors, and he seems to be blending in just perfectly, right?
Yes.
What did I tell you back on December 21st? I dug in on this the day that Anthony Davis and the Pelicans visited to play at Staples, and that night we were told later that LeBron and Anthony had dinner. I thought maybe they would have it on the night before, but it was after. And I told you then it's time for Anthony to do something that's completely against his character. It's time for him to basically trash his good guy label and image and play the game the way it is now played. And I don't love how the game is played in the NBA, but I can't stop it because this is the way in 2019 you do business. And the cost of doing business is a pretty small cost in the grand scheme of things. It's $50,000. So it's going to cost you $50,000, but I think he can handle that, right? Don't you?
Yeah.
You think he's going to be okay?
Yeah, he make about 35. He's all right. I think he's good.
Not 35,000, 35 million.
Yeah, he made 35 million.
Million a year. I think he'll be just fine, and I'm sure Clutch Sports will take care of that also, right? So that's the cost of taking a stand that he had to take, because it's the only way to force this trade. You have to force your way out of town. You have to set fire to the bridge that you built for 7 years between you and the good fans of the New Orleans area, right?
Yes.
Because he loves them. And I think when he says, I love it here and I'd love to stay here, I think that's straight from his heart.
Right.
I've had him on shows before. He's a good kid. He's a good guy. His heart is good. There's not a bad bone in that body. Sometimes you wish he did have one bad bone so he could play a little meaner.
It didn't have to get here. It's hard for me to believe that Rich Paul, who's a representative of Anthony Davis, hasn't gone to Dale Demps, who's the general manager of the Pelicans, and said, look.
You got to do dramatic. You got to do now or never.
Skip,
you have to go for the throat.
Skip, we try to do. See, the thing about Rich and I, we
try to do it gentlemanly.
Yeah, we do things behind the scene.
I got it.
But
it just wasn't gonna work that way.
So we can't be nice and get it done.
You have to force the hand of now. The irony of this is, it actually comes down to one Gail Benson, who has now inherited the team after her husband's death a year ago. Tom Benson, right?
Yep.
So Gail Benson is now 72 years of age. I don't know that she has great experience being around the NBA, but now it's going to come down to her to decide yes or no on this thing. So just as I thought, Rich Paul has quietly gone about his business of informing any other potential bidders, as you just pointed out. You're renting. That's all. He wants to go to Los Angeles. He will go to Los Angeles by hook or crook. You can force your time upon him. The Pelicans could force time upon him. They could just say, well, we'll just play it out, and he'll leave for nothing, right?
And KD, remember KD left for nothing.
He left for nothing, correct. Or you can, because now Rich Paul has made it clear to the Celtics and the Knicks, probably the most marquee bidders, possible bidders, you're just going to rent him. So how much are you going to pay to rent him for a year?
Right.
You really want to do that?
Right.
And obviously, Toronto took the plunge on number 2 in San Antonio because they thought, well, because it's different. He didn't have a clear-cut destination. He just wanted out of San Antonio. So Toronto was thinking, well, maybe we can convince him that the North, that he can just own Toronto, and Toronto's a great place.
It is.
I know it gets cold, but still, it's a beautiful city, and it's vibrant, and they love their Raptors.
I believe it's reported that Kawhi Leonard spent $13.5 million for a house in Rancho Santa Fe, which is right outside San Diego.
Where he's from.
It's hard for me to believe, Skip Bayless, that man wants to spend 6-7 months in Toronto and not the better part of that in that house.
Okay, all right. Could be. So, but anyway, that guy didn't have a destination. He didn't make it clear, I'm going to the Lakers to play with LeBron or whatever. This is clear cut. So now...
And he hasn't waffled. Guys waffle. Well, I want to go here. They give you a list. Well, here, I want to go to Toronto. I want to go this place, Miami. I want to go to Nick. He got one team on the list, Lakers.
Okay, so now that's a done deal in everybody's minds. So now it's up to the Pelicans to realize, okay, right now, you used the analogy yesterday. My store is open. You can come into my store, and you can have everything in my store, whatever you want, except for that one guy.
Right.
That 23, you can't have him. But you can have everything else. You can mix and match depending on what fits under your cap.
Brandon Ingram looks really good last night.
He had a big game. He had a good game. Okay, all right. So fine. On any given night, somebody rises up, and you say, oh, I like the potential. They all got potential. These are nice pieces.
Yes.
By the way, the Pelicans had a really nice win last night at Houston, and that was without Julius Randle, without Mirotic. That was all pride. That was just them saying, and by the way, Drew Holiday, I'm telling you, their cupboard's not bare. He is as good a perimeter defender as there is in the league.
It's unbelievable.
And you know what? He did a number, if I can go this far to say, he did a number on James Harden. He made it hard on Harden, harder than anybody else can make. And I know they were running doubles at him and all, but
triples.
Hey, Drew Holiday can defend and he can score. And he had a big game both ways, on both ends of the floor. And Jahlil Okafor rose and shone last night. What do you have, 27 and 12?
Right.
Woo! So at least you got another quasi-big that you can use.
Skip, the writing was on the wall. Skip, Anthony Davis did not need an agent. Anthony Davis is a super max player. Now, he could have kept his agent 5 years, $240 million.
Right. Okay.
Or he said, you know what? I don't want to give you 5%. 5% for what? You're not negotiating anything.
I got it.
I'm sliding.
There's only one reason to go with Rich Paul. It's to go to L.A.
That's it.
That's it.
Because who's the one guy that can get me up out of here and get me to the destination in which I want to go?
Okay, so here's what the Pelicans got to decide right here, right now, in the next 7 days. Do we want to risk waiting until Boston is eligible to bid after the season? Because it could be a declining market at that point when everybody is convinced he's just a rental. We got no shot with him for the long haul.
Boston got bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
They need to worry about that number 11.
Okay, that's fine.
Because the word is he about to bounce.
No, I got that. But I'm just saying, I'm doing it from the Pelicans' point of view. This is what happened to the Spurs last year. It's coming up on the deadline, and they're thinking, should we wait it out? Should we try to impose our will on him? And they finally said, you know what? Let's just take the best deal on the table. And the best deal they had was DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl.
Right.
Not bad,
Right.
not great. It's
Right.
not equal for equal. It's not 50-50. But
Skip, they would have done this deal if the Lakers were in the East.
Yeah.
They would have traded Kawhi to the Lakers.
Okay.
But Greg Popovich made it abundantly
Okay.
clear.
Well,
I'm not sending you.
I know this is west to west, but you don't have any other options.
Yeah.
So I'm going to think that even Gail Benson will sit back and finally say, okay, they're saying we can have anybody we want, so let's take him and him. Let's do this and do it now, because if we wait until after the year and Boston cools and the Knicks cool and anybody else, the Milwaukee Bucks cool on this, then all of a sudden we might get stuck. And the Lakers would realize, aha, you have lost leverage because there aren't other bidders because they've all shied away.
Right.
Well, you don't want that to happen.
Right.
It's hot right now. I'm sure Magic and Pelinka are saying, just tell us what you want. We will accommodate you, right?
And the thing is, Ms. Benson's going to say, hold on, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I can save $270 million if I let him go?
Well.
Because 240
I know.
plus he has another year left, Skip, so that's a $35 million. So 6 years at $275 million? Oh, man, y'all better get this man up out my, y'all better get this man up out my house.
So if you add any of Lonzo Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, your man Zubats, whatever you mix and match with those.
Josh Hart.
Okay.
I
I
get it.
still think there are enough pieces in place with the Pelicans, as we saw some last night. And again, no Julius Randle, no Mirotic, that they can be credible. They can be a contender. They can be a playoff team with those kids because they're going to get good.
Do you think it's going to have to be? Do you think it's going to be team to team, or they're going to get a third team?
They would
involved?
have to, and there's been reports, and I'm just throwing out
So many.
rampant speculation, but Lonzo to Phoenix.
Yep.
I still say Lonzo is the key piece here. That's just, now again, I'm a much bigger fan than you are because I think he's going to be a star. So he's the one who's going to make it all go, but it might go to third team to go back to New Orleans to come to L.A.
Because, you know, True Holiday had his best season playing alongside Rondo.
He did. And I think he's got a lot of two in him where you're just fine with him playing.
Most of them do.
Yeah, okay.
Most of the point guards are two guards
Except
masquerading.
for Alonzo Ball.
Yes.
He's about as pure a
Well, you ain't got no
point
choice
as you
because
can get.
he can't shoot and score the basketball.
All right.
So he ain't got no choice.
Well, there you go. So I think it's going to get done. I think they're negotiating as we speak, and the clock is ticking toward a week from tomorrow at 3
Right.
o'clock.
I told you in July. I said, Skip back, we about to get a D on our report card. You know what you talk about? I said, we're going to get KD or AD, but we getting a D.
You haven't said it for a while.
You should prefer KD, but go ahead.
Give me that 6'10" and a quarter.
I'll take 7-foot monster
That's all right.
myself.
I know.
I'll take that. Do you realize Kevin Durant is taller than Anthony Davis?
is.
He is.
That is kinda crazy
He's
to think
much longer than Anthony
We might
Davis.
get KD in free agency.
Yeah.
KD, AD, and Braun.
Then
Then
you
what
guys
you
will
gonna
both
do?
come celebrating.
What you gonna do this, Skip?
Well, I'm not going to do. I'm just going to sit back and watch.
You be sick. You be sick.
I wouldn't be sick.
LeBron got everything. If he don't win it now,
Well, he'd have the best player on the planet,
he already did.
KD.
Don't do that.
Okay, we can't predict that yet. We're jumping too far ahead because first, the Patriots. Well, they're just a few days